Let's talk about Bitcoin today and also Ethereum. Are we seeing a cycle that could be changing the game here going into this altcoin season? I'll break it down for you guys. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to get started today and thank our sponsor, and that is Margex. If you guys are going into a trading and you want to do it in a way that's kind of new and fun, well, one of the places you can check out is Margex. And it's very easy to sign up over there. There's no KYC, so it's an easy place to go trade. Around the globe, of course, even here in the United States, one thing that they do on Margex that is very interesting to me is this copy trading feature. And you'll notice right there at the top, it says start copy trading. You can go into the leaderboard, actually check it out. And when you look at the leaderboard, what it's going to give you the capacity of is really to take a look at some of the winners within it. It'll flow in here. You'll see different trades by return on investment. But you'll also see a lot of other factors within it, within the dashboard, which you can do live. So it's very easy to set up, and it's super simple to use. It's really designed for beginning traders. So go check it out. Use our link down below. Make your trade. You can use your wallets to kind of go in and out on, and it's a very interesting way to maybe get involved in trading for the first time. And if you use our link, make sure and use the code after you've signed up. You'll get some bonuses and some rewards to get started. All right, so let's get into it today. One of the things I want to touch on, of course, everybody's concerned about where Bitcoin is. About 310 mil liquidated off of the cryptocurrency market really in the past 12 hours. That was a big statement there. And of course, we've seen Bitcoin adjust back as we're recording. I'll jump over here to the Bitcoin chart just to take a look here. So a little bit of a regression off that 99K high. But the real question is does Bitcoin get maybe a 15 or a 20% correction here? These are still very healthy for these kind of markets, and it is something we've talked about here on this channel before, is that do we see a little bit of a bounce off of that heavy resistance area around 100K? Well, that's what everybody's been looking at. Other things that, of course, been looking at is Bitcoin's price drop. Could be a little bit of a flash crash happening right here, and we are looking at long-term holders that are visibly cashing out some of their gains. So what do they know? Is this something that they're just simply trying to regain close to that 100K and it's good enough? Or is it a situation where maybe they think this is the top? And the market is facing a sell-off right now with some altcoins starting to go in with what's happening with Ethereum, but I think also some of the altcoins that have run as hard as Bitcoin has, and you'll look at some that you've seen, including Solana, which is one that has regressed a little bit. A couple of notes within here. Glassnode noted that the recent selling activity came from investors holding Bitcoin 6 to 12 months ago. So not long, but I think that many people were in a good cash position and probably weren't in Bitcoin as a forever investment. I think that one factor is just trading as it goes. So let me know what you guys think. Is it a project from a standpoint of Bitcoin, is this something that you're going to continue to hold long-term regardless of this run, or is this an area where you're looking at possibly taking some profits? Let's get into whether or not Bitcoin will hit 100K. Well, Polymarket says does not look like it right now. This is coming in for the chance in November. This was a very high percentage back here on the 22nd. And then, of course, the fall off we saw from the liquidation, and now we're down at 16 from what was that, like a 91% chance? So now a 16% chance coming in on that. Make sure and drop some questions in over on the side. We'll try to get to some of those today. I don't know if we're going to do another live stream before Thanksgiving. We may. I'm still kind of questioning whether or not we get one out tomorrow. But make sure and drop some questions. We'll try to get to some of those for you to kind of get going. Let's take a look also over here. Of course, Peter Schiff is back in the news, and he's arguing that America's Bitcoin superpower vision will weaken its economy. And all this is really coming in on the point of using Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. Some of the things he makes a statement on, he believes redirecting Bitcoin to these funds would be value destroying. He also predicted a bloodbath for MicroStrategy stock, calling it the most overvalued asset on the MSCI World Index. And then if you go in and look at other things he's talking about, he's previously argued that the initial government purchase would likely drive the cryptocurrency's price to unprecedented levels. Yes, we could see if we see a strategic reserve truly take place and the government is buying Bitcoin, we will see a massive run on Bitcoin. But he goes in there and says this surge could also prompt investors to sell their holdings and leaving the government with a devalued Bitcoin reserves. The question is, how long would that happen? The other thing that factors into this, I don't necessarily think that Schiff looks at this completely, and that is maybe this is a shift, because there are many people that would look at gold almost in the same way, is that this could trigger not only a shift from as much of a dollar being the world reserve currency to Bitcoin becoming a certain percentage of the world reserve currency, along with what we've seen around gold, because there's many countries out there that are now looking at Bitcoin and gold as almost equal footing. Granted, does it get its chance to go to gold's overall market cap? That's the question mark I think that Schiff is trying to say. I get what he's saying about, what the situation might be with MicroStrategy. Stock goes up, they sell some of the stock, leverage against it, go buy more Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up, stock goes up. Yeah, it is a dangerous cycle, but it is one that's interesting to argue, and I think Saylor does a pretty good job at trying to position that. Other things I want to hit on here is this. This is almost 84% of Americans believe it's a bad time to buy a home. And if you look at the last 4 years, this share has increased a whopping 50 percentage points. And you can kind of see it right there, the housing bubble itself. 40% of the Americans thought it was a bad time to buy a home in 2006. All right, even in the 1980s when mortgage rates were as high as 18%. Anybody ever remember that in the 80s? I know with my mom and dad, that was crazy. 18%. Now we're at a 5% mortgage rate. And I think this is the other thing that many people don't really understand, because many of you guys are probably watching this. You've only been exposed to almost 0% interest, and these super, super low interest rates really over the last 8 years. And I think no one has really understood that the interest rates we have today, granted, inflation is high, but the interest rates are actually not that high. So I think the factor that we've got to get under control is more the inflationary scenarios that are playing out within the market. Other points, if you look at Bitcoin, still only 0.2% of global financial assets. This is something we've talked about before. And I think we are finally at that gateway. And the gateway is where a lot of traditional money managers are actually asking about this. And that is, what percentage of my clients' assets should be in Bitcoin? If we get into a 3, 4, 5%, that would be massive gains in terms of this asset going forward. Remember, a lot of these people are looking at long-term holdings, decades of holdings. So that could really change the format of how Bitcoin is going to be looked at, including things like Ethereum. And we'll talk about that in a second, because there's a lot of very positive things for ETH that are starting to move. Now, I've got a clip here that will get into a little bit more around the Treasury Secretary's selection, Scott Bessent, and the effect of him on this rally and what it might look like. Take a look.
The Nasdaq's the underperformer. Well, the S&P is underperforming a little bit too, but in many respects that's related in some part to tech stocks.
The regulatory relief gives you the best opportunity to extend that broadening out. But the last thing I'll say on this is the chase for performance. Everyone keeps talking about it. Chase. If you haven't caught the market by now, you're not catching.
You know what this is now? This is the chase for outperformance.
Yeah,
how much can you outperform the market now if you do have that run that people are talking about from election day to inauguration day?
The market's going to keep going right now because you're seasonally in a great period for the market.
It kind of needed another catalyst to get to the next level, right? And this sort of took some uncertainty off the table.
All right, so the point being is traditional markets continue to support what's happening in the risk markets. Many people will look at this in a typical cycle that we've seen in these 4-year rallies that are very similar. And what I mean by that is Bitcoin makes its run. We get a very heavy and overheated Bitcoin, which has been the case. Profits are taken. People are trying to rotate those profits now. They're trying to figure out what is the next potential. Ethereum, though Bitcoin has come down a considerable amount just in the last few days, Ethereum has been able to hold, along with a handful of other tokens, and I'll show you the ones that are doing that. And is that giving us a signal here where we are starting to heat up into the altcoin season? And I think this is the factor that everybody's watching. So Ethereum spot ETF inflows and outflows updated. This is coming off of November. A few days left in November. Total net flow is now positive 113 million. So still very good signs for Ethereum, because this is now showing positive net inflows. Could we see the rotation of traditional capital and a lot of institutional capital starting to move into Ethereum as a potential for the ETH ETF? If you just look at the Ethereum tracker right here, let me kind of zoom in on this. It's a little hard to read for you guys. Let me zoom up here. So you'll see the total net flow. There we go. Total net flow right there. You can see the spike right here happening on the 21st. Nice move. Now, if you look at this and we click out to the Bitcoin ETF, notice the same thing in that same chart. You can kind of see that big red candle right there. Are people liquidating out of Bitcoin in the ETF side and just flipping over and running into Ethereum? That's the real question I think that everybody's asking right now. And is this the early beginning of these cycles? And what the analyst mentioned in that last clip is that a lot of people have said, okay, well, you can't really rotate into the blue chips because they're well into their run, so it's not necessarily a great performing factor. What people are going to be watching for are those mid caps. Well, if you think about mid caps, you're going to be outside the top 20, outside the top 50 of risk assets, meaning altcoins that are outside those top 50. Those may be the ones to really watch. We'll probably do actually, we're going to do a video for you guys for a Black Friday tokens to kind of watch for, the ones that I'm looking to buy, because I think there's a lot of value that are in the market right now that just hasn't been necessarily exposed. So we're going to be talking about some of those this week. So if you're not subscribed, do that right now and hit that little bell. That way you'll get notified of these live streams when we go live, and it will help you guys kind of keep on track with what we're doing over here. Other things I want to hit on is Ethereum defies Bitcoin's dip. This is the $4,000 insight variation. A couple of points they make is a significant factor bolstering Ethereum's bullish sentiment is the explosive adoption of blobs. And this is one of the technology components that happened during the Dencon upgrade, which is very critical for Ethereum's growth. Other things that are happening is Robinhood brings ETH staking to Europe. That's a global scenario, but it's launched the Ethereum staking, offering a seamless way to earn rewards in ETH holdings. We may see that coming here. I think now that we have a new administration, it's very possible we could see an ETF that's going to have the ability to earn rewards. If that occurs, Ethereum is going to absolutely just blow upwards. So technical indicators pointing to around 4,000, trading above the key resistance level around 3,200. It's trading around 33 right now, has formed a strong foundation. In fact, that I'll show you that in a chart in a second. Analysts suggest ETH could hold and test this crucial $4,000 mark, which is kind of the psychological level that I think everybody's been looking at. Once it hits that 3,500 number, and I'm going to jump to the chart real quick and just go to ETH and show you what I'm talking about. So the little bit of this sideways, we'll zoom in a little bit here, a little bit of this sideways action, but it's definitely on the higher low. Definitely, if you look at some of these positions right here, we saw this low around 3,000. Now we're holding at that 3,271, 3,300 range. This could be the bounce we're looking for, and we're also entering a big order block. And so far, sentiment is still very positive on Ethereum. If you take a look at Bitcoin, sentiment is a little different. Let me kind of let that paint up for you. Starting to slow, but we are starting to see a little bit of money come into Bitcoin. So maybe this is the short bottom on around 92K. Drop some questions in over on the side. We'll try to get to as many of those as we can. And then I wanted to hit on a couple other things right here. And of course, this is Math Seago talking about what he's thinking of what's happening with ETH futures. And ETH is dead. He's just having some fun there, just showing the spike that we're seeing within Ethereum. Other things, of course, you have to look at is these cycles. And this is an interesting chart because it shows a very intriguing analysis once that Bitcoin starts to see a rotation out. So seasonally is the best time to hold ETH during December through April following a halving. And that's typically what we've seen go back to November 2020. That was the range right there. And look at that green zone right there. So nice little extended push. Same thing, except we're about right here in that cycle. So this is the opportunity, guys, where I think we could see some big moves coming up next. Also, take a look at the ETH and also Bitcoin supply. If you just look at where ETH is in comparison, supply shock could be reality here within Ethereum if we continue to see this tracking in. So that in itself, I think, is also very bullish for Ethereum as a whole. Last up right here, Ethereum is a little bit sensational around surpassing a Tron from a Tether supply standpoint. And it's also one of the first times that we've actually seen this. I think we had a chart on this. Yeah, here's the chart. The chart was getting into the Tron supply versus Ethereum supply, and there, that little red line is Ethereum, so it is now surpassing Tron. That's a good indicator for stablecoins, especially with USDT being one of the key stablecoins running basically all of crypto outside the United States. So a big one. I see some good questions coming in. We are going to answer some of those. Make sure and fill out the poll today. I don't know what the guys put on the poll, but we'll definitely see what the polls hold as, and then we'll get into some other points I want to hit on before we get into that. And this is going into a little bit more of just the whole idea around where really kind of the ecosystem of Ethereum itself and the tech, the potential for what it can do. I think this is another factor that it plays in. They're talking about blobs and kind of the whole idea around L2 maneuvering the market and how it's potentially going to start to see an upward trend, mainly because of the tech. So this is good, all very good. Phantom also expands to a multi-chain horizon with a base integration. This will be interesting because this will bring, of course, base, possibly meme tokens. Maybe we'll see Brett. That would be cool if we could see Brett on Phantom. That would be interesting because you could see some exposure now because of what we've seen in terms of the run-up in terms of people adopting the Solana meme tokens. Do we see a potential here where maybe Base gets a chance at maybe getting some of that exposure over within the Solana wallet Phantom? That when you get into these cross-chain scenarios on project or on Phantom wallets like Phantom, let me know in the comments down below. I'm just kind of curious if you guys are doing that. We've got some news also coming on the Tangent wallet. They've got a lot of new breaking updates that are pretty cool. We're going to try to bring that to you tomorrow because there's some interesting things happening within that. Speaking of wallets, other things I want to hit on, of course, is Vlad. And this, of course, is CEO of Robinhood. You look at his Twitter account, guys. I mean, he's almost gone full digit here with that or without. Of course, with being listed on Robinhood. Man, he's really playing it up there. I love it. You know, that's the beauty about memes. I think in modern society, I think memes just say so much. It's like videos say 1,000 words. I think memes can say 1,000,000 words. ARK Invest now increasing their holdings in 3IQ. This is an ETH staking ETF. This will be a big deal. Strategic move by ARK Investments continued since its investment in cryptocurrency sector, especially in these kinds of related assets. Also very bullish because Kathy, of course, has been a big, I think, proponent of where Ethereum as a whole is going. So this is a pretty strategic move for ARK. And we're continuing to watch what they're doing because we see a lot of investments that they're making in the gaming ecosystem. We've had some on the show. I won't mention who that is, but you can go back and kind of look at some of our videos. You'll probably figure that out pretty quickly, where that is going. Don't forget that Donald Trump himself is holding 7.1 million in crypto. And his top holding, well, it's Ethereum. So there you go. Now, when you say Ethereum, yeah, it's top holding is Strog, but still on Ethereum. Polygon #2 base right there behind it. And kind of cool to see that kind of activity out there. All right, we're going to get to some questions and the poll real quick. Let's take a look at the poll, though. I want to see what the poll held up. Will ETH begin to take the spotlight now? Right now, 49% of you are saying yes. 35% is, wow, somebody's saying it's dead. Wow, that's crazy. Woo. We got a crazy audience out there today. All right, let's see what's happening here on the questions. Jeter says, I just watched Charles Hoskinson. The things he says about Bitcoin could be the real deal. I don't know what you're mentioning. I'm not sure of that. So we did a video on Cardano yesterday. We got a lot of hate for it, but we were just reporting what was happening. Yeah, it's one of those things. David Crockett says ETH dominates real world usage. Some chains are just speculation. I think you are accurate there, but not all chains. I think we're still going to continue to see. If you look at some of the other chains, we'll just take a look at Solana real quick, okay? So Solana saw probably one of the most aggressive moves up, and we've seen the move down. What's our track off that high? So a correction right now over the last 4 days, about 11% on Solana. Trading at 226 right now. And if you look at Avalanche, this is the one that's kind of interesting to me, is been able to hold off of that $43-ish high. And where is that? I mean, it's pretty much almost on top of itself, and we'll go to where it's at the top of the candle right there, just a little under 3% down. So Avalanche is in a good position there, but I think those are the chains to watch for sure. In my opinion, not just yet, according to Bitcoin versus ETH. So you still think it's going to take some more time, Ricky? Crypto Stevo says, when will BlackRock decide to pump it? That'll be the question that I think people are asking is, when do you see that rotation? If you look at the ETH inflows, maybe there's some interesting signals there to watch. And also, users are leaving ETH for Sol because of speed. Well, I think you can get speed on a lot of different chains. I don't know that it's just Sol, but, you know, and I like Sol. I'm a Sol holder. I like it. You know, there's a lot of chains out there that are very fast. You look at C-Chain, you look at SWI, it's very fast. You look at what we've seen with Solana when there's no problems in the network, very fast. And also very cheap. Jeremy says, I'm betting on the good coins on base. Arrow, Brett, Toshi, Chomp, etc. The ones I like out of that would be Brett for my meme. And I would probably go with, out of that list, I'd probably go with Arrow maybe on, you know. And the guys are saying Toshi. The crypto pit is flashing Toshi. All right. So what else do we have? Users. Let's see. So BlackRock. No, we got that. Let's see. What else do we have? Is it now? Okay. Here's Joku says. Is it now that a bull run, or is it possibly seeing this going into January, February next year? I still believe that December is going to be the month that we would potentially get a nice acceleration into these altcoins. The question is going to be timing here, and I think there's going to be some very critical things that are happening right now from a global perspective. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when we talk about Ukraine and Russia. It is an issue that is still suppressing, I think, markets to a certain extent. If that wasn't happening, I think it'd be, you know, clean and green. But right now, we still have those kind of things that are at bay. We probably need to give you a macro video to kind of give you guys some insights as to what's going on there. Eduardo says, any thoughts on Caspa or interviewing the devs? I have asked the Caspa team to come on, but we require fully doxed if someone's going to come on the channel as an interview on an AMA. And if they're willing to do that, yeah, okay. We're interested in any major chain that has a top 50 market cap. I think those are reasonable to have on to, you know, let's hear the case. I'm always interested because it's good research. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, kindly talk about Gala's coin. Gala's still holding. Everybody asks about this on almost every live stream. Gala. It's just not one I'm gonna go with in this run. It's just, that's, you know, I felt like it had a chance in the last bull run. I just don't see enough, you know, advancements within it that would make me think that Gala is going to be a major winner in this one. And I'm looking for best winners. It's not that it won't do well. It's very possible the token could do well. But I'm looking for major winners. And it's just like some of these coins that will probably 2x, 3x, 4x. But is that really what we're looking for on this, you know, bull run in this altcoin season? I don't think so. I think people are looking for some bigger bags. Trump is big into ETH. Once the projects can actually use tokens that earn money, it'll be a big, huge, I think you're right, David Crockett. It is definitely some things on the horizon for Ethereum. And I think the other factor that plays in very positively for ETH is the whole point around FIT21. And if you don't know what FIT21 is, go back and look at all of our legislation videos on the channel. There is a whole slew of those. And there are some very key projects that will most likely get clarification when FIT 21 happens. So just be on the lookout for those, because that we may get a FIT 21 bill go through the Senate as early as February. So think about that, February, March. All right, so here we go. William Fisher says, I just saw iTrust Capital has IMX now, other than Gala, AVAX. Any thoughts on game exposure there? Listen, I think that, first of all, full disclosure, iTrust is one of our channel partners. They've been with us forever. And if you look at just crypto IRAs in general, many people use IRAs as a tax strategy. But I like the fact that you're looking at it as an investment strategy, almost like creating buckets. Good gaming buckets. You can go in with your AI buckets. You could look at your DPIN buckets. There's a lot of tokens within iTrust that you could easily build an array like that. And remember, diversification is always a good strategy, no matter what kind of portfolio you have. What do you think about XLM? Man, it's been on an absolute tear. What has XLM been doing? I think I had that one. The one that is still holding. Look at Algorand right here. Look at this guy. Man, Algorand just moving up. And a lot of these OG tokens have really gotten, this is one of those American tokens that I think is, if we get a tax break on US-based tokens, Algorand's going to be one of those that absolutely pops off for sure. ETH will go up. But you had asked about XLM. XLM, I just don't know if it's got that. Granted, XRP is going to, I think, continue to do well. Does it continue to fly? I think that's the real question. XRP is down almost 4%, 4 days down right now, about back to 135. So, but very positive money still coming in. I don't know. This will be one. This is kind of no zone for me in terms of where XRP is heading. A lot to uncover there. What else do we have? Shiba. Miguel, I haven't bought Shiba. It's a big market cap. I think if you're looking for a big winner, I mean, it could do well, but I think if you're looking for a big winner, you probably want to pick one of these rising stars from a meme standpoint if you're looking at that. That's the way I would play it. Next hot narrative, we're fading out. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you look at AI still being in the game of a hot narrative, gaming, I don't think it's not had its run yet. We're going to see some gaming tokens that really do well. DPIN, I would say, is a little soft right now, but we may get a winner out of there, but it's going to be maybe a narrow selection. So that would be one of the things right there. Mike Seal says the lead up to 100K was too fast. We're never going to get through the resistance first time. I agree with you, Mike, because that's one of the things that everybody has been saying is that the move to 100,000 on Bitcoin was absolutely insane. Look at how fast this was, guys. Go back here and look at the chart. It was a lot of sideways action. This is the daily chart right here. This was back on November the 6th. And this is the Bitcoin chart. Look at where we took that, 42% right to the top of that green candle on Friday the 22nd. From November the 6th to the 22nd, last Friday, we had a 42% run on Bitcoin. Ridiculous sentiment numbers, lots of volume coming in. Very interesting. And it came at, that was when it broke out of that, really out of that trading zone that we were looking at for acquisition on Bitcoin. And then bam, just right up, because it was around the 65 mark that we started looking at doing an entry, and then up it went. So not bad. All right, here we go. Raul says, PB, when are you going to get the team on from Say? We've asked and reached out to Say's team to come on for an AMA. No response yet. What about Kakinu? That's one of my tokens on the AVAX ecosystem. If you guys have not used the Core wallet, check it out. I think you might be intrigued with the ease of use, and it's the Avalanche Core wallet. Almost every chain has their own wallet. But the cool thing is that you can go directly into Trader Joe, get into some of those meme coins over there. It's very easy. It's kind of like Sui if you're using the Sui wallet, similar when some of those memes were running. Zimmerman says, hey, Paul, whatever happened to DPay Devour? It's a project that I am still an advisor on. This will most likely end, though. The advisory role will end. They have not, I know they're doing a lot of updates for their holders and for a lot of their investors. We just haven't been, involved in it as much. And it's one of those projects out there, and this is the thing with many of these that I go into, and just so you guys know, when I'm investing in different projects, I'm expecting a lot of these to probably not make it. But then there's going to be the winner, one or two, out of a handful or a roster of potential investments. And it's the same way in traditional investing when I'm going into small businesses. Same kind of scenario is I'm investing in several small businesses. Most likely several of those will, they'll do okay. They won't be 2x, 5x, 10x's. And then you might hit a, kind of a mini unicorn. Those are the ones I'm always looking for. So, all right, Trizzle says, please answer Litecoin future. Well, Litecoin has been a token that has been around forever. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's one of the fastest tokens out there in terms of speed. The other thing is it's a great liquidity play when you're trying to move assets around because it's cheap. Those always work, cheap and fast. Those always work. Will you do a video on helium and mobile? Helium is intriguing because that's a deep end play, by the way. So that one could still be in the game. Mobile, I'm a little bit disheartened by, just in general. I'm hoping that it turns around, but I'm a little bit disheartened just with what's happening there on Helium Mobile. ETH, the hated rally that's incoming. I like that. Sell Bitcoin for XRP. All right, there you go. We got through all the questions. Hopefully you guys, if I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, I want you guys to at least do one thing, unplug, go touch some grass, get out there in the backyard, play some football, do something with your family, have a good time, relax away from the markets. I understand it's heated. There's a lot of opportunities. I know a lot of you will be playing over the holidays, but hopefully you have a good Thanksgiving. And of course, joining in the Diamond Circle, it's a great place to get additional content. On Thanksgiving Day, just markets very closely, and that's just at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.